Hey everyone! Sophie here, and welcome back to Tottenham Update. Today we're diving into a hot topic that's on every Spurs fan's mind. Is Ange Postecoglou the project manager we need, or are the cracks beginning to show? Let's get into it. There's nothing quite like a derby defeat to stir up emotions, and Spurs' 1-0 loss to Arsenal over the weekend has certainly shifted the mood around the club. Going into the international break, we were optimistic. Spurs had a solid start to the season with 4 points from the first 3 games, beating Everton, drawing with Leicester, and losing a tight match at Newcastle. But now, with the latest defeat to an injury-hit Arsenal side, the narrative has changed. Spurs dominated large parts of the game but once again fell victim to poor finishing. And while Postecoglou has had the backing of the fans, there's a growing sense of pressure. The Australian has only managed to collect 44 points from his last 32 matches, a disappointing stat considering how last season ended. Spurs dominated large parts of the game but once again fell victim to poor finishing. And while Postecoglou has had the backing of the fans, there's a growing sense of pressure. The Australian has only managed to collect 44 points from his last 32 matches, a disappointing stat considering how last season ended. Spurs dominated large parts of the game but once again fell victim to poor finishing. And while Postecoglou has had the backing of the fans, there's a growing sense of pressure. The Australian has only managed to collect 44 points from his last 32 matches, a disappointing stat considering how last season ended. In an interview with Sky Sports, he doubled down, stating confidently, "I always win things in my second year. Nothing has changed. I don't say things if I don't believe them." But here's the irony. Arsenal are the perfect example of what happens when you stick with a project manager through rough patches. Could Postecoglou be facing the same situation? Or is this just the beginning of more difficult conversations in the coming months? Former West Ham midfielder Kevin Nolan certainly has his doubts. Speaking on the Football Daily podcast, Nolan pointed out that Ange is now in the Premier League, not the Scottish League or back in Australia or Japan. He said, "People are finding chinks in his armor." He also expressed doubts over whether Spurs have the squad depth to truly compete with Arsenal, especially after such a poor showing in the derby. So, where does this leave Postecoglou and the team? Is this just a bump in the road? Or are there deeper issues that need addressing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is Ange the right man for the job? Or do we need to start asking tougher questions? Before we wrap up, here's my take as an English football commentator. Ange Postecoglou has a vision, and transitions are never smooth. The Premier League is a tough place to manage, especially after a disappointing result like this one. But building a project takes time. Spurs fans will need patience, but the signs are there that this project could still flourish. The real test will come in how Postecoglou and the team respond in the next few games. A project manager can succeed, but only if everyone, players, fans, and the manager, stays united behind the vision. That's it for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Tottenham Update for more in-depth Spurs content. Until next time, come on you Spurs!